Françaises, Français,
Frenchmen and Frenchwomen,
serions-nous là?
would we be here today?
Serions-nous là sans
Would we be here without Hubert Germain?
À 20 ans à peine, il quitta tout.
At the age of 20, he left everything behind, his homeland, his friends, his family, to go to London.
Bientôt, avec honneur et fidélité,
And soon, with honor and
de gloire,
devotion, he covered himself in glory at Bir Hakeim.
serions-nous là?
Would we be here today
Sans Philippe Leclerc,
without Philippe Leclerc d'Oc, one of the first resistance,
dans une épopée légendaire
who
depuis les victoires de Libye jusqu'à la
led
libération
the
de
troops
Paris?
from Libya to the liberation of Paris?
Serions-nous là?
Would we be here
Sans Berthier
today
Brecht,
without Berthier Brecht,
fondatrice avec
the
Hubert Fernet,
founder with
du
Hubert
réseau de
Fernet
résistance
of the
combat,
resistance
tombé
combat
aux mains des
network
Allemands
that fell into
et
the hands of the
préférant se donner la
Germans
mort
and who
en prison
preferred to
plutôt
commit
que de
suicide
risquer
in prison
de
rather
livrer
than
sous la torture
risking
ses camarades
giving
de
up
lutte?
her secrets under torture.
Serions-nous là?
Would we be here today?
Serions-nous là sans Philippe
Would we be
Kiefer
here without
et ses
Philippe
177
Kiefer and the
fusiliers marins
177
débarquant le 6 juin 1944
Marine Fusiliers who
sur les plages
debarked
normandes?
in June 1944 on the Norman beaches?
Serions-nous là?
Would we be here today without René Cassin, Jean Moulin, Jacques Chaban-Delmas, Romain Gary, and André Malraux, without this cohort of men and women made of bravery and sacrifice for France?
Tous étaient compagnons.
All of them were companions of the liberation.
Ils étaient 1038.
There were 1,038 of them in number.
Et anonymes,
They were illustrious and anonymous.
militaires
They were soldiers
et civils,
and civilians.
divers par leurs opinions politiques,
They were different
leurs origines
by
géographiques,
when it came to their political opinions, where they came from.
soldats,
When it came to their opinions, they were soldiers, engineers, farmers, industrialists, diplomats, workers, writers. They were African, they were magistrates, they were doctors, and they followed General de Gaulle in this adventure.
tous,
All
sans hiérarchie
of them,
aucune,
with no
chevaliers de la liberté.
regard for hierarchy, were knights of freedom. They, without distinction, they were all
Intemporels.
timeless faces of France.
Le 16 novembre
On the 16th
1940,
of November
il
1940,
était seul,
he was
presque,
alone, or almost alone,
convaincu que la France
convinced
libre devait
that
se doter des
free
prérogatives
France
régaliennes d'un État.
needed to give itself the regalian prerogatives of a state, and so the general created from Brazzaville the Order of Liberation,
Patriam servando,
Patriam Servando,
victoriam.
Victoriam Tulit.
Le 1er août
The 1st of
1941,
August
ils
1941.
étaient 5.
There were 5 of them.
Le capitaine de vaisseau Thierry
Captain
d'Argentlieu,
Vaisseau Thierry d'Argentlieu,
le gouverneur général Félix
the
Éboué,
General Governor Félix Éboué,
le lieutenant d'Hollande,
Lieutenant Londe, the radiotelegraphist officer Popieul,
l'adjudant aviateur Bouquillard,
and the
furent
aviator
non seulement les
Boucliard.
premiers compagnons,
They were not only the
mais
first
les membres du
companions,
Conseil de l'Ordre.
but also the first members of the Council of the Order. They were pioneers who came from all over France.
De toutes les conditions.
They came from all different environments.
Le 11 novembre
On the
1945,
11th of November 1945,
ils étaient 15.
there were 15 of them here.
15 cercueils
15
drapés
coffins
de tricolores,
covered in the
remontant les
flags of
Champs-Élysées,
France,
qui, venus de tous les champs
going
de
up the
bataille,
Champs-Élysées. They had come back from the different fields of battle and were placed at the Arc of Triumph, at the Arc de Triomphe, at the eternal flame of the unknown soldier, before they would join the Mont Valérien crypt to bear testimony to history that France's sons fought for freedom during these battles. 15 coffins of Tunisians, Moroccan, Senegalese fighters of resistance, of soldiers of the Second World War, of Free French, of the internal resistance, people from Chad, from Burkina Faso, from Brittany, all brought together here. On the 9th of March 1952, a 16th body joined them in the crypt, that of a French soldier who had been executed in Indochina. 16 bodies to represent all the destinies of the Order of Companions. The order under decision of its Grand Master was foreclosed in 1946, and it was exceptionally reopened to welcome Winston Churchill and His Majesty George VI. Each and everyone knew from that moment on that the day would come when we would have to bid farewell to the last companion, the person who, in the crypt, would occupy the last place. This day is now upon us. In line with the will stated by General de Gaulle, Hubert Germain will this afternoon go to the Mont Valérien crypt and will join his brothers in arms and all of those who stood at attention so that France could live. The companions will then be no more. The 18 fighting units will still be on the emblem of the companions, with the colors black for death and green for hope. Nantes, Grenoble, Paris, Vercors, Île-de-Saint. The order especially will continue to live, protected by the head of state, the guardian of the memory of these men and women who one day pulled themselves up beyond their position for the freedom of all. The companions of freedom will be made an eternal source of inspiration for all the children of France, who will always be united. Some nations are made of shared borders, of their heritage of blood. France built itself on these lands through a shared history, a language, a state, thanks to its will. France lives and survives and overcomes the challenges of time thanks to men and women united by a love for this land, for these ideals and our values, and they accept to risk their lives for a cause that is greater than they are. France is freedom. France is transmission. France lives, survives, and overcomes these obstacles and challenges because from generation to generation, men and women have passed on the torch, the flame of the ideal. And so, yes, the last companion is no more, and we will accompany him to the crypt, where we will seal the last grave. But these 1,038 men and women who had given an unconditional love to France and sacrificed themselves for the country do not disappear. They are joining our dead from Bovines to the Chemin de Dame, from Patay to Valmy, from Reims to Couffra. They have inscribed their destiny at the sides of those who have carried the spirit of resistance, the love of the free homeland, of refusing division, for the honor of France. And so, yes, their flames are still within our hands. Their burning embers are still here. And when the day comes and when the hour strikes, we will be able to awaken them with this breath that has made all those who came before us rise and made us free, free French men and women.
et sans lesquels
And
nous ne
without
serions pas là.
these people, we would not be here today.
Vive la République,
Long live the Republic.
vive la France.
Long live France.